It's the Exit 52 podcast. We're live, boys. We're here. It's me, Jake Luke. It is Spencer Schultz. It is Eric Arditi. It is Taylor Smythe. Brian Black, thanks, as you all know him, is on the way. We're doing it live, boys. How are we feeling? We're here, finally.
I mean, the buzz is unbelievable. I have walked over here in the last 60 seconds, tossed right on camera. Couldn't be more excited. Spenny is radiating in this orange right here.
Looks like a traffic cone.
This is like one of Eric's days where he doesn't walk, he just bounces.
Oh, yeah,
He's
yeah.
bouncing around.
Floating. Yeah.
So that's a sight to see. This is really cool that we're out here. Tailgoat looks fantastic as per usual, so we're in a great spot.
Yep. Shout out to our sponsor, Jimmy Seafood. Eric, how we doing down there? This is your time of year.
At all. But
Put the headphones on.
I thought he had them on. I assumed you asked how I'm doing.
Yeah, of course.
All right, someone filibuster. Someone fill it.
Right.
Eric is levitating right now.
He really is.
What a lovely day. We're here at the Jimmy's famous Tailgoat right now. With DJ Pauly D on the way. We got all kinds of stuff. Eric, how are we feeling?
I am so excited. Again, this is my Christmas. This is my Hanukkah, since I'm half and half. New Year's. It's everything rolled into one. Again, like Taylor said, I'm floating, I'm bouncing. This is what I've been waiting for. I don't know, for 5.5 months, 6 months, however, the last time when the season ended. So I'm here, we're ready. I'm excited for some Pauly D. I need to get my David Rubenstein.
Stein.
I need it.
Stein.
Yeah. Listen. When you're as close with him as I am, I can call him whenever I want.
Well, we're we're the only podcast in Baltimore to do a lot of things, right? As was the catchphrase there for a while.
I brought it back last week. You brought it back.
You did. But there is an only podcast in Baltimore that got to interview David Rubenstein. Shout out to the Ryan Ripken show. Good guys over there. And we learned that it was Rubenstein. I didn't get to listen to the full thing yet. You guys did. It sounds like it was a good interview, so shout out to those guys for getting that done. But, man, what a fucking wild couple of days here to be an Orioles fan. You got that ownership transfer happening right at the 11th hour there as we're heading into the new season. He's probably going to be in the house. I'm sure he is. And, it's going to be a ceremonial type day, I feel like.
He was supposed to. Again, I told some people
Breaking news.
I was told from someone at Pickles that obviously last week, Governor Moore, had talked about coming down, doing the traditional thing.
Yeah.
And obviously after the incident with the bridge and all that, the tragedy, they probably said not great optics if the governor is flipping beers and, doing Coyote Ugly on top of the bar. But they had said he was going to bring a guest. Said guest was David Rubenstein.
Stein, thank you. Yeah.
That's just going to be a bit all year. But again, I mean, it's been a weird, hectic couple of days. I was talking to Johnny Crabcakes. He had said, there are major cities that go years. He said in a span of 4 days, we had an owner die. We had a terrible tragedy with a massive, with loss of life and a massive structure come down.
We should say, prayers to everyone involved in that. It's going to affect all of us,
Many
everything.
People affected, not just now, but for a bit here.
Yeah, for a long time.
Years and years and years.
Yeah.
They said 10 years. Yeah. They think that the port may not be back to normal.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
But again, awful tragedy. But then they said, and then again, a new owner was appointed. He said there are cities that go decades without any of those happening, and we had it happen within 4 days. Leading up to opening day, not just a random 4 days. So again, it's been a wild couple of days here in Baltimore, and I think the city really needed this. The fans needed this. And again, the weather isn't the greatest, but people are making the best out of it. And
the rain
awesome.
has held off.
Yes,
it is not raining.
Yeah, it's fine. It's doable.
This is usually about what the weather is today.
I was going to say in March, you got a coin flip. It's either going to be the nicest day in the world or it's going to feel like the remnants of winter. And here we are. And I just came in. I got off traveling all day yesterday. I was traveling all week, but thank God I made it back from Los Angeles and we're here. The weather is not as nice as it was out there. I'll say that. Walking along Manhattan Beach, trying to find Ryan Russillo. I was not able to locate him or his house, but it was a great time out there. And now we're back and we're ready to watch some Orioles. Good Friday off tomorrow too. I don't know if you guys.
Good Friday tomorrow. I'm sure quite a bit of people have off for that. So ceremonious occasion, and we talked about this, Eric, a little bit on the, like you just said, on the season preview that we did a couple days ago, the last week. Let alone Jackson Holliday fever of him being sent down and the chaos that's created. So really chaotic, news-filled, not just the Orioles, but in
have we
Baltimore
recorded since then, by the way?
Since the
because you guys did the preview, and I think Holliday did not make the team. That was kind of a big story, and I don't think we've had a chance to really talk about it.
We did. We were able to record and talk about that. So the Orioles signed Tony Kemp. That's what we didn't get to touch on. Right. So we did go over kind of.
Should have gone live for that one. Should have gone live.
Yeah.
That was on us.
Spenny was a big Colton Wong guy, so he, it was tough for him.
It looks like we won't be getting any Wong Dong Bongs this year, unfortunately, as I was trying to tell Eric for quite some time. But, man, think about last year, this time, fellas. Think about Adley Rutschman, first time on opening day. Think about Gunnar Henderson. We got some fun fans here. Think about Gunnar Henderson making the opening day lineup. This team in general, I guess, just kind of start things out, O's-wise. It just feels like they have legitimized themselves since then, and there's such a different feeling, a different energy about this team, about this organization, and Rubenstein coming in at this 24th hour and being approved right before it just continues to add fuel to that fire in that regard.
It's insane how quick it seems that this all came together. Again, this is a $1.7 billion transaction, and it started the rumor started beginning of December.
Yeah.
And here we are 3.5 months later.
I mean, technically, the rumor started late in 2022, technically speaking.
Who broke that rumor?
Spenny News, Spenny breaking sources. Who could say?
But I remember so you guys did the preview while I was gone. Last year, I remember me, Taylor, and Eric did the preview before the season. I predicted them to make the playoffs. I felt like I was kind of going out on a limb. I think you guys maybe did too. We were all like, wild card this,
Their over-under was 76.5 wins last year.
We were like, that is a crazy number.
76.5 was way too low. But I said, mid-90s in the win category, maybe low 90s, and they'll get in as a wild card. And it's time to legitimize yourself. They blew that out of the water. What did they win, 101 last year? So it feels like that's kind of the bar now. I mean, 100 wins is a lot to ask, but they've got the talent. They've got the pitching staff has really come together here. Obviously, there's some injury concerns, but it sounds like Bradis is going to be able to go. Means he's going to have that rehab stint or whatever's going on with him. But, man, it's hard not to feel very, very excited right now. And you get a little bit of a handshake, short par 4 opening here with the Angels today. So, Taylor, I know you're a huge Mike Trout guy. So
it's a big day for me.
Yeah,
I have my Mike Trout jersey under this one.
Of course, yeah, I bet. So ready to take that off.
You're in the same city as your guy. I mean,
I am. Well,
that's huge.
Why I was a little delayed here is we had a little breakfast. We had a little chat. I said, Mike, we got to make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, right.
We got to make it.
I don't know if you know he's from Jersey, so he's kind of a local guy.
He's a big Eagles fan.
Yeah.
Crazy.
What I'm interested to watch is last year when we did the preview, the national expectations were not there for this team. I think there was some local hope and some people that were in the know that knew the team would outperform what they did last year. So, I'm scrolling Twitter yesterday, and it's MLB.com prediction: Orioles win the World Series.
Over the Dodgers.
They're spending billions of dollars. What will be interesting to see is watching this team play with that expectation. That is a totally different thing to come in the year with. This opening day, outside of being very emotional because of what happened with the bridge and what happened with the ownership change, those are two emotional things, will be kind of a celebration, a one-day celebration of what happened last year because it's a lot of the same guys coming back. So those applause as guys come down the orange carpet is going to be like, thank you for what you gave us. Thank you for what you gave us. But now with the expectation that you need to give us that for 5 to 6 more years, watching guys, and they seem fine in spring training. There seem to be no issues there. But now with the spotlight totally on you nationally, watching these guys deal with that will be very, very interesting. That's what I'm interested to see in the first 3 weeks.
I always wonder what it's like to be a Yankees fan and have to deal with that every single year and
play for the Yankees.
Yeah, and it's the last 25 years it hasn't been there for them. I mean, that's kind of it's a weird thing, man. Expectations, they're a real crusher for you sometimes. So we're gonna have to see what happens with it, but I don't know. The talent is there. The coaching staff has been in place too for a long time now. That's what I like about the fact that they kept high, right?
Management and the front office.
Office, they're in lockstep, it would seem. And they've weathered these storms together. So I think that definitely gives me confidence that they're going to be able to face the expectations because it's way better than just being in the doldrums and, tanking, quote unquote, and all this kind of stuff. It's a much different world to be in. It's a better world to be in, I think.
And a huge part, I feel like, of dealing with those expectations, being a club that got a bye and played in the ALDS, lost to the World Series champion, won 101 games, dominated, frankly, in the best division in all of sports in the AL East, is acquiring today's starter for the Orioles, Corbin Burns. Unbelievable, consistent talent that has had expectations like this for a few years. And I feel like he brings so much legitimacy for the players, for the clubhouse, especially for a staff that, like we just talked about, doesn't have Kyle Bradish, who was the ace last year, and a guy like John Means, who was expected to be in that role, long-term plan for the Orioles. So being able to have Corbin Burnes today on the bump, I feel like quells a lot of maybe nerves that there might be, if there are any, from having raised expectations as a team. Burnes will be squaring off against Patrick Sandoval from the Angels, who had a nice year last year. So, two teams that are at different points in time. But again, I feel like Corbin Burnes, we've talked about it a ton. We've talked it to death. But at the same time, what else are we going to talk about? It's one of the probably the most exciting acquisition. I mean, Miguel Tejada.
Andrew Miller midseason. I mean, that's the one.
Andrew Miller was a big deal, but this might be the biggest acquisition of our lives
because of, like you said, all the expectations. Again, when they got Tejada and all that, it wasn't like this is a team that can go out and do some damage. This is a team that legitimately can win the World Series.
Yeah.
Again, MLB.com said it, and I wrote it in the blog. People are talking about it in Baltimore, but it's not just people in Baltimore. It's a nationwide story, and it's not like, oh, this is a young, fun team. In a couple of years, they could do something. It's, hey, right now, they could do something.
I mean, last year they were ahead of schedule. That was ahead of schedule.
I said it was the 2015 Cubs where it's like, oh, not this year, but next year. Yeah. Watch out for them. What did that team do, the next year? They won the World Series. So, again, they were ahead of schedule. The Orioles are way ahead of schedule. And, again, I mean, the Burnes acquisition, I literally last night, it came to me, and I was like, holy shit, Corbin Burnes is starting for the Orioles tomorrow. Yeah. I think I don't think as an Orioles fan, I've realized how good he is. I think today I'm going to watch him from center field and be like, oh, my God.
Well, you get conditioned to not expect that when your team isn't spending to the extent. And when they do, it's like it doesn't sink in until it's time. And now it's time. Yeah, I mean, again, I've seen Gausman and Bundy and Gibson and Kyle and Kevin Millwood and Eric Bedard and Jeremy Guthrie and Daniel Cabrera and all these guys. And it's like, yeah, they're good. They're fine. Corbin Burnes, we've never seen a pitcher like him since Mike Mussina in an Orioles uniform. And I haven't wrapped my brain around it, and I think it'll really set in once he throws like 98, for the first pitch. And it's like, oh, my God. It's interesting you mentioned Mike Mussina because you were actually talking the other day about how ridiculous it is that Adley Rutschman took his number. So, yeah.
Hey,
you want to expand on that? Or
Thank God Buster Olney just got out ahead of that. I'm really, really happy that he was able to do that. And, maybe Adley should change his number, yada, yada, yada. I don't know. Thank you, Buster, for
for staying on top of the case as always.
Thank Buster for being the number one watchman for the Orioles. So,
he is. Listen, he's the he might be the number 2 ombudsman now that there's a certain person who's maybe no longer doing Masson, and we don't have to get into all that. But
I can't hear a thing he's saying.
Corbin Burnes.
They don't work.
I mean, okay.
We'll take care of it.
We'll figure that out.
Corbin Burnes, for those who are familiar, going through his
put him on.
Putting through his pitch distribution from 2023 here. Throws the cutter about 55% of the time. Curveball.
I'm reading this one.
Curveball 17% of the time. Changeup 11% of the time. Has a slider. And then just a 4-seam fastball that he uses as well. So he's a 5-pitch pitcher. Really relying on the cutter, curveball, and changeup and mixing in that slider. Loves the backdoor. That cutter is a big strikeout pitch for him. Loves the backdoor. Just loves the backdoor there.
Cutter.
Corbin Burnes, really, really, really exciting stuff. I think it'll be remiss not to talk about Jackson Holliday a little bit. We talked about it on the preview. I know fans are interested in it. I'm sure listeners are. We had some comments coming through on the live stream here. Taylor, what are your initial thoughts on Jackson Holliday and the situation at hand? And, of course, hey, not going to be a forever situation, right? It's opening day.
Yeah, I mean, I think that in an offseason where you envisioned, especially after the spring training success, where you envisioned him running down the orange carpet, I think RDT said that like 400 times, like that's going to be an amazing moment. It was a little bit of a downer to have him not on the opening day roster. But at this point, I can't really do anything but trust the way they develop players. So it's hard to get totally upset outside of the vacuum of the hour of being like, oh my God, why would he not just start? He's clearly ready, blah, blah, blah. Of being like, well, Michael Elias has gotten all these other dudes ready, and he really hasn't missed on any of them. So I guess I'll just trust him until it doesn't work. And I will sacrifice the month of not having him because I think it won't be that long for the hopefully decade that he's great, So it sucks because him just starting and coming up to bat, moments would have been bigger than when he comes up inevitably in the next month or month and a half. But I have to trust the organization. As weird as it is to say, you have to trust this organization, which is something people have not been able to say. And now you just have to. So I'll be excited when he comes up. It'll be a huge moment. They'll do it up like Adley. It'll drive people to the game.
Right.
Hopefully it's in a big moment, in a big weekend series on a Friday night where people can come.
So not 8 a.m. on a Preakness morning?
Not 8 a.m. on Preakness
No,
morning.
yeah, let's maybe avoid that. Like, that's kind of...
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
I could not be more excited for him. I mean, he showed everything you wanted him to show in spring training, and so for me, I'll take that positive over the short-term negative of him not being in this moment right now.
Right.
But like, the great part is, as we've talked about, he's just not the only guy. It'll be great to see Gunnar come down that carpet. It'll be great to see Adley come back down that carpet. Like, all that stuff's going to be great.
I mean, they've got Tony Santander, who hits 30 home runs a year. No one even talks about him.
There's a Cy Young pitcher, starting on the mound. Like, so there's a lot of other things that will take that place. But I think that anybody criticizing the move, I'm fine with. If you're someone that is upset with it, I think this is one where you can easily play both sides of the argument, where you're like, just bring him up. We're ready. He's ready. He's a generational talent. You put this guy on the team. And I'm fine with anybody that says, trust it, he'll be up there. I think this is a very, both sides thing.
100%. You mentioned Gunnar there, who is a similar, infielder, high pedigree, high pick, all of those things. You did mention expectations. One thing, Eric, when we talked about this situation in the season preview, the one thing I think, and Matt Holliday, Jackson's obvious father, brings it up in a little article he was interviewed recently, but the one thing I do think that was unfair and why a lot of people are rightfully upset that I didn't really put a lot of stock into until I saw Matt Holliday's comments was that Mike Elias did say early and often, hey, if he does everything right, he has a shot. He did everything right. He performed well. He produced in spring training. So it felt like maybe he didn't ever have as much of a shot as indicated to be on the opening day roster. And because of those words, that sets expectations in a fan's mind, which leads to disappointment. You can't be disappointed in something you're not setting a bar of expectation on. So I do think that's a big deal in that vein. But again, it'll blow over. It's opening day. The roster will change in a couple months. Jake, how do you feel about young Jackson? What are the vibes around young Jackson and the farm looking up here?
Who's your favorite young Jackson?
Listen, I love all Jacksons except for maybe a certain pop star from the 80s who got into some seedy behavior. But not what I heard. I don't know. Jackson Holliday, I thought it was a foregone conclusion. And maybe that's on me. We got a camera over here. But I just thought it was a foregone conclusion that he was going to make it. Ultimately, I was a little emotional, a little upset that he didn't. But I'm going to get over it. And, I think everyone's going to get over it. And guess what? Like Taylor mentioned, he's going to get his own day. He's going to get a big day for a call-up. Ideally not on Preakness Day. We don't want that, of course. But if they handle it a little bit better than the Adley one, if they do it at the right time, if they have the space where they need it in the infield, I don't know. It's fine to give this guy a little bit more time to season. And for all the complaints about the service time manipulation, I get it. But guess what? That helps you as a fan. That's helping the organization. It's, they're trying to protect their position a little bit. We're talking about...
He could very well still finish second or first in rookie of the year and wipe that out anyway.
Yeah, right.
Very easily.
It's a business for the players. Absolutely. And everyone wants to make that argument when players do something pro player. I'm all for it. Guess what? These clubs are going to do the same thing for, their side. So it's tough. It's an emotionally charged thing. I wanted him on the team, but guess what? We're all going to forget about it in 6 weeks when he's up here and he's mashing. So
I was saying, I fired off some tweets being like, this is stupid. This is dumb. I don't understand.
You got a little emotional. You got a little hot on the guy.
I did. But I don't necessarily mind that.
Neither do I.
I'm fine with people being upset. It's fine to be upset because I want to watch him. I mean, you just can't help yourself. I mean, it's just
who doesn't want to see him play?
Yeah, right. I understand why they said, he needs more bats for his lefties, blah, blah, blah. And that's perfect. The thing that I was saying is everything they said he needed to work on wasn't his problem. It's not, hey, you're striking out on sliders low and away. We got to get you in the cage. So you're doing it's, hey, you need to face more lefties, and you just didn't get that chance. So that, to me, again, that was a big thing too. It wasn't like, hey, it was clear that you overmatched in these at bats and you just didn't look ready. He looked ready from the fourth game.
Yeah.
First couple games he struggled, but other than that, I mean, he
looked ready last season.
Yeah,
we were like, dude, is this guy going to get called up for the playoffs?
I genuinely thought he was going to.
Legitimately had that thought.
And Spenny, I'm with you too. The way that Elias put it in December with the quote,
it led to expectations, which allows disappointment to be an option.
If he would have hit 250 and had a home run and had 3 or 4 errors and looked completely overmatched, I think people would have been like, yeah, I get that. That makes sense. But again, I mean, every highlight we're seeing, he's hitting a grand slam and he's
legging out an infield single. He had no business,
getting. He looks the part on every level.
Yes. He passes the eye test. Again, I understand it. I get why they did it. I don't like it selfishly because again, I wanted to be in the stands when he ran down that orange carpet. I wanted to see him. I thought it'd be an awesome opportunity for him. I feel like that Matt Holliday article kind of like went under the radar. Not that many people were like talking about it.
Let's keep it under the radar. Let's not.
That's what I was like. I'm not.
No one that's listening is Googling that right now at all. We didn't bring any attention to that.
No, but again, he'll have his day. Some will call it a holiday. There we go. No, but again, it's going to be an awesome time when he comes up. Tony Kemp and Ramon will hold his spot until he gets up. And I think when they signed Tony Kemp, they were like, they're giving him at bats over Holiday, and it's like, it's going to be 6 weeks.
And again, the Orioles, a part of it too is that the Orioles, Elias has been very forthright. I don't want to send guys back down. And we've seen guys, really the only player I can think of that didn't get, or prospect, I guess you could say, that didn't get consistent at-bats, that didn't struggle, was Jordan Westberg. Westberg, and he was not, he was around the Mendoza line, hitting around 220 at one point, bouncing around the infield, sitting. Stowers, Cowser, both guys that have shown so much potential, didn't get the consistent at-bats. If you're not going to get the consistent at-bats, then, they want you to be down getting them so you can continue developing at this point in your career. So with that in mind, we talked about Jackson. I'm sure we'll come back to it many times this year, today maybe even. But one of those guys that we mentioned, Colton Cowser, struggled so much, at times looked borderline inept at the plate. I think he would agree with that statement if it said it. Really couldn't see the ball well. Timing, has a great spring training, and he is really the one guy. I mean, Westberg there too. Westberg felt like more of a fixture, but Colton Cowser able to legitimize himself and be kind of the next guy in line. It was Adley, then Gunnar. Westberg came up, and then Cowser, and now Cowser able to sit there. It feels like he's a lot more confident. Has a monstrous beard going on. I like the beard energy from Cowser. How are we thinking about the Moo Man, Taylor, at this point in time?
No, I mean, I think you're right. I think there was such a consistency of guys succeeding that his inability to produce last year, I think, was like a little bit surprising based on the fact that like his profile as a prospect was polished college hitter. Those guys normally ascend very quickly, as he did. You kind of saw that with Kershad as well. And then he struggled, but he seems like an extremely nice guy. So you're just happy for the guy who very much wants to be here. Didn't seem like he had, at least publicly, have his sort of mentality changed by the fact that he struggled last year. Clearly did the work in the offseason and came back and swung it really well in spring training and deserves his spot. I'm very excited for him. I think, obviously, all the Orioles position player prospects has really been about the infield to a certain extent. And so for you have an outfielder that is kind of ready to go. We haven't seen the same thing from Kershad, which is a little disappointing, but you talk about the NBA, there's only one ball. Like, there's only so many at-bats, so some of these guys are
exactly.
The one thing I was going to say about Holliday is, like, the Orioles are in a scenario seemingly with the guys in charge where they don't make rash decisions. And I would love to know if there was ever a possibility that Jackson was going to start with the big league club and whether they thought maybe there'd be some more struggles in spring training, be like, all right, we're going to send him down. They'd probably were watching and be like, oh.
Again, every hit, they're probably like,
this is going to be a little harder to send him down because they seem so meticulous and planned out with how they make decisions about these guys. It feels like, Jackson played his way in a position to potentially be on the roster, but he was maybe never going to be on the roster, which is fine. If they have a plan, stick to the plan. It's continue to work. But to finish then your question, very excited to see Colton Cowser and hope that it's all systems go as he starts.
100%. And looking around the outfield, I feel like we talked about this. Eric gets so overlooked with Austin Hayes, all-star last year. No one mentions his name when they talk about the Baltimore Orioles.
We talked about it a couple weeks ago that he is just like, and a guy that said, or through his agent publicly, like, I want to be here. Like, I want to continue to be here.
Right. So. Mullins obviously had an injury to end last year, injury in spring training. Santander has more home runs, I think, over the last 3 years than any switch hitter.
Yeah, something like that. He's top 3 or top 2 or something.
Exactly. And then Colton Cowser coming off the bench there. Nevin, factors in a little bit, but really just a ton of talent in this outfield. Obviously, Mullins, we'll see. I feel like he could get – I wouldn't be surprised to see Cedric Mullins not off to a hot start. Injury to end last year. Limited time in spring training. Again, he is a veteran.
To start the year. The legs. It's
100%. So hopefully he's able to find a rhythm. But having a guy like Cowser is so important. Eric, what do you feel? How do you feel about this outfield in general?
Before you get into that, I do want to apologize for our technical difficulties. Our hard cameras are down. So
how dare you, Jake?
We are your camera. We're pivoting on the fly.
Now it's just a more intimate.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys are in here with us.
It feels like we're in a huddle, and we're like, all right, let's.
We'll Eskimo huddle, keeping warm here. But Eric, how do you feel about this outfield? Do you feel like it's being overlooked? Do you feel like it's a driving force? What do you feel like it looks like maybe in May or June versus today, if there are changes at all? Obviously, guys like Kerstead in the minors. How do you feel about this outfield?
I mean, I think this is pretty much the most set group of guys we have. Again, I think there's 4 guys that are going to rotate all throughout. It's going to be Hayes in left, Mullins in center, and again, this is barring an injury. Cowser in right, Santander in right, and you can put Tony in DH. You can put Cowser there. You can put Cowser in left. They said they feel comfortable with him all over. Again, you can put Mullins at DH if you want to, and he's hitting.
Take some of the physical stress playing out there off of it.
Get them off their feet a little bit. And then again, you got Kerstead, who is going to get at bats. He has 35 plus home run power. He's going to get bats. Jorge Mateo has been talked about. He's played in the outfield this spring training. He could be a guy who, again, that saves a roster spot. I'm not calling him Shohei Ohtani by saving that roster spot. Some are calling him Shohei Ohtani, though. But again, we've seen April Mateo. We know what he does. But no, it's a very solid
April Jorge Mateo was nothing to sneeze at last year.
No, it's a fantasy monster. But no, again, it's a very well-rounded, solidified group of veteran guys outside of Cowser. Again, I mean, these are 3 outfielders.
Which should allow, I feel like, him to integrate in and just mix in casually, there and be a part of that rotation.
Absolutely. But I'm very confident in the group. I like the group a lot. Again, it's kind of a no-nonsense kind of group, except for Tony.
O'Hearn even can take reps out in right field, especially at home where it's a smaller right field, things like that. Looked okay out there last year. So
absolutely. They basically have 3 guys who can legitimately play center field out there with Hayes. Right. Yeah. Hayes has range. He basically is playing center field in that left field. So I love the outfield makeup.
It's amazing that we brought up Mateo. It's amazing he's on this roster based on the discussions at the end of last year where he felt unplayable, and I think people were kind of over it. But the versatility, I think, is hard for Brandon Hyde and Mike Elias to give up on. I just think
they love their splits. They love versatility.
Spots, his ability to bring speed. I think he will become a fan favorite again. I think he is going to reemerge to a certain extent. Because as you said, last April he was unbelievable. So excited to watch him again.
Felt like a 5-star player at one, or a 5-tool player at one point, especially in April there. Again, sorry for the technical difficulties. We're here live at the Jimmy's famous Tailgoat. We've got Brady Anderson somewhere around here. We've got Mike Bordick somewhere around here. Nick Markakis, Rick Dempsey, and of course DJ Pauly D. We'll see if we can get some GTL going on the stream here in a little bit. We appreciate everyone joining us. Thank you for joining us. Feel free to go hit like, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. We'd love to bring you on over to YouTube. That's our preferred place if you could watch. So make sure to get out. With that in mind, Jimmy's does have, this was hilarious. We were talking to the owners, Jimmy's earlier, John, and appreciate them and their sponsorship and of course everything. But let's talk about, we got the Rubenstein Reuben at Jimmy's. Go out and get that. The Gunner Burger is back. Eric had one the other day. So good. So make sure to get yourself to Jimmy's. Make sure to like and subscribe on YouTube. And man, oh man, I mean, with who's in town, we're talking about this Los Angeles Angels team. They will release their official lineup a little later today. I was looking through what they had going, spring training, their last lineup. Anthony Rendon at third base. They had Zach Neto at short. They had Nolan Chanel, young pup there coming up that hit well last year, first base. Second base, Brandon Drury. Mike Trout, of course, your boy in center field, the silver medalist himself. Aaron Hicks, former Oriole, returns to Baltimore. That's a lot of fun, right? Someone who could very easily get swept under the rug this year, forgetting his impact when Cedric Mullins did go down.
He'll get a very nice ovation. I think he will get a very nice ovation.
As he deserves, being able to come on over from the Evil Empire and fill right in on a day's notice. He said he was on the golf course when he took that call from his agent saying, hey, you're going to Baltimore, and just took a red eye, got here, was in the lineup, and immediately hit it out of the park. So they also have Miguel Sano DHing, potentially. Logan O'Hoppe behind the dish. Taylor Ward potentially in left field there. They have a couple other options. Again, that was just their last spring training lineup. And then Patrick Sandoval here. So I feel like just 2 different teams here, and it is opening day. It's a long season, all those things. We're going to talk about the Angels a little, but 2 teams that are just at different places.
Different places.
Yeah. And the haul that, they don't even end up getting because they don't trade Shohei Ohtani could have propelled them. They could have torn the studs down a little bit, but it feels like because of Mike Trout, they were hesitant to do that. They thought they had a chance to re-sign Ohtani, and now it's like, what can this ball club do? I know that they put a lot of effort into their bullpen, things of that nature. Patrick Sandoval on the bump today, but just completely opposing perspectives of optimism, it feels like, from teams headed in different directions.
Yeah, they can't afford to tear it down, and they're in a little bit of no man's land of you have this guy that, we joke about Mike Trout, I joke about Mike Trout, but it's one of the best in the game. And you feel like
first ballot Hall of Famer probably.
Easily.
First ballot, like a unanimous type of guy. Unless someone values.
People were talking about him as the greatest of all time, and then Ohtani came along, and it's like, oh wait, now it might be this guy. Like on the same team.
It's like,
especially this generation.
They probably at some point should have thought, all right, we're not winning. Let's trade both of these guys. They really probably should have traded both of them and just torn the whole thing down. But they didn't. They're in a crowded market with the Dodgers, and it's hard to, rebuild and lose all that fan support and deal with all that stuff. So they don't do it. And now they're totally in no man's land where I think they're just hoping that it kind of comes together and Trout stays healthy and they can sneak a wild card spot maybe, but they don't feel like that kind of team.
They tried to do that last year.
It's sort of a soft opener for the Orioles. To be totally honest. I'll say that the Orioles lose 10-1 today, but in terms of who you could have had, Trout obviously brings the star power, but they just don't have a ton behind him. So
the Orioles open. You mentioned that. We'll come back to the Angels in a second. The Orioles open the year against the Angels. They have the Royals after this. Then at the Pirates, at the Red Sox, and then home for the Brewers. Corbin Burns potentially. We'll see how the lineups match up, the rotation matches up. Potentially, seeing his old team pretty quickly here. Just funny because it is an NL team. And then home against the Twins. So really a start that for the Orioles is a lot of young teams. A lot of teams. The Royals, I think you can't count out. I like their win total this year. They are at 73.5 wins. I like the over on that. They have a lot of young talent, a lot of guys. Of course, Bobby Witt, talk about MJ Melendez, some of those other guys. But
a lot of young talent on the field when the Orioles play the Royals. That is going to be
that'll be electric. If anyone, I know everyone cares very much. My one fantasy league, first 3 picks, Bobby Witt, Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman. You're welcome for the information.
I did care. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
everyone cares a lot about that.
About people's fantasy teams. I think we should break down my basketball fantasy team that just lost in the semifinals.
Oh my gosh!
Do an hour on it.
Of course.
I love that you guys are into baseball and basketball fantasy. I can barely even get into NFL fantasy. I do the draft, I get excited, and then like 3 weeks in, I'm like, fuck.
Why did I do this? Why am I thinking about this every single week?
Yeah, every time.
Angels, 72.5 win total, the 5th lowest in baseball. The Orioles are 90.5 as of today, shot up from 89.5, 4th highest in baseball. So 2 teams on the opposite end of the spectrum there. Anything in the chat? Again, appreciate you guys subscribing. Any questions, feel free to throw it in.
Their total beats, that is so sad with a guy like Trout on your team. That is just like,
what's that tweet about like?
As a neutral baseball fan, you just want to see him in the postseason. He's just not going to compare again.
What's that tweet about how like Mike Trout did something? Mike Trout homered 3 times today, and Shohei Ohtani did something that Tungsten the Armo Doyle hasn't done since 1921, as the Angels lost 10-3.
Yeah, it's just sad, and I can't even really think of. I can't think of at this point how long it's gone on with Mike Trout unable to have any sustained shot at a postseason look, or let alone winning their division, something like that. It's across other sports, I really can't think of good examples to even compare. So we're talking about how good the Angels have supported how well the Angels supported Mike Trout.
Really well.
And their shots at the playoffs this year with their 72.5 win total.
Did you see the video of Ohtani taking his first at bat?
No.
They had like that scrimmage kind of thing where the Dodgers played in LA. Right. I was shocked, number one, at the applause from the Angels. I didn't know how they would react to him.
Bought a Dodgers hat in the airport.
You did?
Yeah, I love the blue Dodgers hat.
You take the 405?
Oh, dude, I took the 405. Me and Stu were out there.
Yeah, the fucking valley. There's no service in the valley.
Yeah, it was super hot. We saw Aquaman.
Sit up.
Sit up.
There was they showed Ohtani getting, the crowd giving him a round of applause.
They're just rushing this thing out.
God damn it, this is going off the rails.
I hate this.
But they showed them giving Ohtani a round of applause, and then they flashed to Mike Trout, and his face looked like, what am I doing? Like, what in the fuck am I doing here? Like, they're not doing anything. Anthony Rendon is like playing Sudoku on the bench, like doing tic-tac-toe.
And Rendon has the quotes about how he's not sure he loves baseball that much. And
honestly, I respect the shit out of that.
I respect the honesty.
I get it.
But if you're an Angels fan, you're like, oh my God, how is this going this way?
Brutal.
I totally respect his season as a job. Yeah. Totally fine with that. I'm sure other guys not willing to say that. He said it. Yeah. But it just, in terms of actually trying to build up some excitement, guys you're paying $200 million saying that is not going to get you going as a fan.
Hey, we just got rid of a generational talent and let him walk for nothing, and then you have your first highest paid player, the second highest paid player.
We were talking about this. I said it feels like a team that should just blown it up totally.
Yeah. They should have.
and got as much.
Talk about an all-time fumble of not getting a package of prospects for Shohei Ohtani last year, and
he goes to your crosstown rival.
He stays
terrible.
in the area.
Again, at least the Orioles got Dean Kramer for Manny Machado. Like obviously that trade was awful.
Yeah.
They got something.
You can get prospects that don't pan out, but then it's almost like draft picks, because then you have capital to trade. It gives you something to be able to facilitate.
You can at least say you tried. Like, hey guys, look, you can look at the fan base in the eye and be like, hey guys, listen, we tried. What did they say they offered? Like 180 million, 200 million. That's
crazy.
It was never going to work.
It wasn't even in the neighborhood.
Again, if I'm an Angels fan, I mean, you're pissed, and rightfully so. I mean, Mike Trout, again, that guy is just an all-time waste of talent, and it's you really do hate to see it.
It's a competitive balance thing with MLB. I think it's a competitive balance thing with MLB. I know the way the sport works, how long it is, how big the clubs are. You got the minor leagues. It's hard to have the competitive balance be really set. But if you grow up an Angels fan, and you've got the Dodgers right there, you're fucked. If you grow up a Mets fan and you've got the Yankees right there, you're screwed. If you grow up an AL East fan and you're not a Red Sox or a Yankees fan, as we know, it can be tough. I don't know. I hope that at some point we can get a competitive balance, maybe a little bit closer to something we see with the NFL. Logistically, I know it's not that easy, but I would like to see something done, because they're doing a lot of other stuff to improve the product on the diamond. I think that would be a good thing to kind of sit down and look at.
The black holes of MLB, bottom of the league teams, are pretty dark.
It's crazy.
It's Pittsburgh.
It's cynical. I don't know. I don't love it.
The Angels do have an exciting young catcher, Logan O'Hoppe, who in 51 games last year, just under 200 plate appearances, 14 yayas, 29 RBIs, had an OPS of 796. OPS plus 111, ended up suffering, I think it was an ACL, maybe an elbow injury. So I think it was an elbow injury. Might have gotten Tommy John. I can't remember. Might be DHing now. But speaking of exciting young catchers, Adley Rutschman last year on opening day.
It's also crazy. He's going into his third year. He's not even that young anymore. I was thinking about that last night. I was like, holy shit, we're going into Adley's third season.
Yeah.
This is that now. I'm like,
he's in his upper to mid-20s.
Yeah, he's 25, 26, I think.
26, upper to mid-20s there. Went 5 for 5 last year on opening day. I will be hammering.
First swing.
Adley Rutschman, total bases 2, 3. Take a little home run just for the sake of it. Went crazy last year on opening day. Why not? Why not try and run it back? We had Jim Lennox here in the comments. Says Adley hit a home run in first at bat today.
I took him on DraftKings.
Yeah, I took him. I took Tony. Santander was my Dong City pick. We bring that back on opening day.
I took Adley in that thread.
Did you?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I think
Tony to boost your engagement, you really need it. So
yeah, thank you very much, because I fish for engagement.
Right.
Anyways,
with that in mind, hoping to swing around here a little bit. Tons of fun vendors, tons of fun folks.
I saw Aquaman in the Valley. It was me and 3 of my friends driving around in a Maserati.
Vinny Chase viewing his own movie there. It was exactly Jake. So Jake. Many call Jake the Vinny Chase of the county, the Baltimore County.
You just don't. Nobody wants to be E right now. That little suit.
No, nobody
Tough
wants.
Look for E.
He really is a suit, isn't he? In a bad way.
Bad way.
Yeah.
Very much so. Other than that, fellas, I mean, Eric, like I said, we're starting out here. Orioles have the Royals up next. They go to Pittsburgh, go to Boston, host Milwaukee, host the Twins. To start the year, a lot of the Twins, have a shot to win the AL Central. Royals, we'll see. Very young, upstart start to the year. A lot of lefties in those rotations. What does success look like for the Orioles through maybe those first 5 or 6 series? What do you want to look back on this team and realize or think of? We're talking about, May by that point.
I mean, these are all series that you should win. They should win. They should legitimately, and this is not a bid, they should take 2 out of 3. Want a drink?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna yeah.
They should legitimately take 2 out of 3 or sweep these series. These are, again, I mean, you look at the teams. Again, the Angels, the Royals, at the Pirates for their opening day. They're a young, fun, upcoming team. But this is not an Orioles team that we've ever had. Again, this is a top 3 team in baseball. They should win pretty much every series that they go into. Obviously, it's not going to happen. That's just not how baseball works.
They almost did last year.
They pretty much almost did. But again, I mean, if they get out to a 9-1, 10-1, one of those kind of starts, it would not shock me at all. Again, the soft tossing lefties, that's been their kryptonite over the last couple of years. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle that. But these are teams that they could really, again, I mean, if you want to get out to a lead, you can't win a World Series in April. Plenty of people remind me of that when they did not bring Jackson up. But you can put yourself in very good position for the division. That's what they did last year. And nobody thought they would catch the Rays last year. Oh my God, this team is a generational team.
Yeah, they started
the division is over. Why is it you're playing for the wild card? The Orioles just kept winning, stayed steady, and again, we're that constant ship in the night. They're just picked up 2 out of 3, 2 out of 3, 2 out of 3, boom, 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 keep it going. If they can do that, they will be in a great spot. Again, we don't know what the Yankees are going to be with Cole. Who knows? We don't know what the Rays. I mean, the Rays do this every year. They sell off, their guys, and then they win 95 games, and who knows? The Blue Jays, again, have every person over 300 pounds in their lineup. Nobody knows how that's going to work out. And Boston is Boston. I don't know. I mean, the Orioles have a real chance to take it out to a fantastic lead. And just, again, pad that, give us that lead and pad it and just go from there.
It would not be an Exit 52 Orioles podcast without Eric fat shaming the Toronto Blue Jays.
I don't fat shame very publicly. I did on Twitter with the cow video. I don't know if you guys saw that. I didn't know if I should let that one fly, but I was feeling myself and let it fly a little bit. You know me, I don't really shy away from it. But again, I mean, a hot start would be the best. That would make everyone forget about Jackson Holliday, which I feel like they already have. But again, if they start 9-1, 10-1, people are like, let's just keep this thing rolling. Who cares if he's even up or not?
Final opening day at Memorial Stadium in 1991 was the hottest home opener in Orioles history at 89 degrees.
I would take that.
7 years later.
I love this.
But what was that? That was probably like April 14th?
1991. I don't have the date of it exactly, but I would imagine it was probably a couple weeks down the road.
Still, though, that's
a scorcher. We don't get 89.
That is really hot.
Global warming, we could get down that wormhole. There's no 89s happening in March in Baltimore. We can get like 75 maybe.
It's because of the wind turbines.
7 years later, 85 degree at Camden Yards, the third hottest opening day. The warmest was 88 degree night, warmest. So this is because 2020, the home opener was delayed. It tripped me up for a second. No fans present.
Why would you even put that note in there?
88 degree night in July was the warmest for the 2020 season, so that comes with an asterisk. Last year, 2023, first pitch temperature was 60 degrees. I think we're just south of there. It's about 54, 55 degrees in Baltimore right now. The rain has held up. It does look like the Orioles will be A-okay to play. The weather, and I'm not going to lie, I was a big baby about the weather. With a lot of people having off work tomorrow, with it being an open Friday, no game, I was like, why not do this on Friday? But we're here. It's great. Jimmy's, everybody all around. Vibes and general thoughts, fellas, as we're coming up on the 1 hour mark here.
People are very excited. Again, I just went to meet some people in line. The line goes all the way down there, and again, people are excited. It was always going to work out like this. It was always going to be Thursday. It was always going to be.
Glizzy season is back. Something I don't think about. I don't really consume hot dogs outside of baseball season. I don't have winter hot dogs. I don't know.
Oh, a good winter hot dog guy. I'm a sucker for a Royal Farms or a gas station hot dog. Get me a greasy dog that's been sitting on the rollers all day, and I will gladly house
hot
that.
Dog is summer to me. I think Glizzy in the summer. So
yeah, but I don't know. There's something about a gas station hot dog that just really revs my engines and gets me going.
Of course it is. You're
It's not a shocker. That's the most shocker that the guy with snakes.
That's the most RDT thing ever.
The guy with snakes likes gas station hot dogs. No way. It's crazy.
It's like the gas station version of a snake.
But from a vibe standpoint, I don't know if we could be around better vibes where we are. People are. I
can smell the spray tan on Pauly D walking through here somewhere around here. I can smell the hair gel.
Has had me just watching the Old Bay mascot just dance around over here.
You know what
this activation they have going on, and it's been very funny.
You know what they said earlier? They wanted the Old Bay mascot to have like Old Bay on his head, and they wanted to be like, oh, can I get some Old Bay on this? They wanted him to scratch his head and have the Old Bay fall off like dandruff onto someone's fries. Don't think they went through with that. But yeah, vibes here are great. Again, I mean, you can hear the band in the back. Like you see the little pyrotechnics. The food smells awesome. Frank's Pizza's right over there. We're going to get some of the Rubens soon, some crab cake egg rolls.
Shout out to Frank's. If you are local or you're listening and you can't make
yelling at that guy. He's like, you're the best. I love you. You're the best.
I accost Frank every time I see him. That's not Frank. It's his son.
Definitely not Frank.
It's his son. I can't remember his name, but best pizza in Maryland. Best pizza I've ever had in the state of Maryland. Frank's Pizza. I think it's in Overly, technically. They say Pikesville. It's Overly in the city, but outstanding stuff there. Really fired up, boys. Prediction and games day vibes. What do you think happens today on the field?
I've taken run line. I've taken Adley home run. I don't know.
It's a slaughter.
If you want to score, I think I picked over 4.5. The Orioles run line were like their run scored was like 4.5. It's like that. Yeah, sign me up for that. They were plus money at that, so I'll take that. I don't know. Give me like a 7-2.
Dumb fan take. The Los Angeles Angels coming to go play in 50-degree weather in Baltimore for opening day. They're not happy.
No,
they're not excited.
And again,
they just had to watch Shohei Ohtani on a video board 2 days ago.
But they were at home. That's the thing too. They had to fly all the way across country. Like
yes, exactly.
I think they're going to be walking zombies. Not like they aren't already. I mean, oh brother, these guys stink. But again, I think they win this pretty easily. I think I picked Corbin's line with like 6.5 strikeouts. I took that in a heartbeat. I think he really shoves today. Again, it's cold. It's kind of shitty out, but I think we're in for a big offensive day. 6-7 runs. Again, I picked Tony to hit a home run. It wouldn't surprise me if we get an Adley, a Mountie, a Gunner.
A little bit of humidity in the air. The ball's going to be jumping. It's going to be. More humidity means the ball goes further. A lot of people don't know that.
Absolutely. But again, it's I don't know. I mean, I'm excited. I think the Orioles win easily. I don't think they lose this game. It's not in their makeup to lose. I think they've won 13 of the last 15. I think.
You tell me. I mean,
I don't know. We'll see. I think that's what it was. 13 of 15. I think Uncle David said that on the pod with Ryan and them last night
when he was talking about being from Baltimore.
Yeah. Baltimore.
Yeah. Love that. Love that guy.
Great interview. If you haven't listened to it with Ryan, his dad. It was funny with him being like, I'm just going to call you Dad, which I think that's an appropriate flex, especially for that. Like, hey, we're sitting in the warehouse. Did you like that? I don't know if you heard it. You probably didn't. But
I didn't
yet.
You didn't. That's an all-time must be nice thing, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They asked like, what's your favorite childhood baseball memory? And David said, watching Cal Ripken break Lou Gehrig's record. And Cal goes, you weren't a kid for that. And he goes, well, I was a lot younger back then.
Yeah, right.
So, guy has a sense of humor. He's great. He's great. So
I want to know who's running Mr. Rubenstein.
I think it's him.
If it's him, he's doing an unbelievable.
Again, I have never seen, not since Mark Titus joining Barstool, I have not seen someone get it as much as he does.
Yeah.
He seems to really, I'm holding my breath.
It's not shocking considering he's clearly as sharp as they come.
Yes.
Listen to the guy talk about it. Put the link to his Bloomberg stuff.
So he was like, check my Bloomberg stuff out.
Clicking that every time.
This guy's talking about all these different things. I mean, he has hit the ground running from a public perception standpoint, as he should. I mean, you have all the opportunity in the world to build up an insane amount of equity.
You have a fan base itching for something like this, transparency, just being open and all that.
And the team is already good, so you don't even have to promise a lot. The team is already good.
It's not like politicians talk come on out, I promise we'll put a good ball club on the team. We know there's a good ball club on the field. We know that already. You don't have to convince fans to come out. Yeah. So he's doing a great job. Again, he seems real. When you listen to him, he seems like he knows what he's talking about, and it seems like he really wants to
I did the deep dive thing on him, and he's legit as it gets. I mean, he basically from a young age, his mom wanted him to be a dentist, and he was like, all Jewish kids from Northwest Baltimore, that's what your mom wants you to do. I'm sure you maybe had half of a similar experience.
Laurel is not, it's kind of the same as Baltimore growing up.
Kind of, yeah. And
Burtonsville.
And he was like, you know what, I'm just going to go to Duke and be a lawyer, and then I'm going to go to, I think he went somewhere in Chicago to get that law degree, and it's like, well, I'm going to start working in politics, and now I'm going to actually do the lawyer thing, and then I'm going to get into finance. He's just...
A lot of different buy the Magna Carta.
Yeah, a lot of different fingers and a lot of different pies. And he's really it's funny, the way that you guys mentioned, the way he communicates and the way that he talks, he's very well spoken. Apparently he wasn't always like that. He really had to hone that skill, learn it, kind of build it as a muscle a little bit. And now you can see it. What is he? How old is he? He's in his 80s at this point, right?
Or was it 80s or 70s?
It might be 70s. Yeah, it might be 70s. So, he's still... We were talking about Larry David and how he's looking a little bit older right now. I'm not really getting that vibe from Rubenstein.
No.
He strikes me as a guy in his 50s. The way that
he's a young 78. I think if you could say that. But no, again, I mean, listening to him talk, he seems energized. The guy's got it.
How is his cognitive ability? Should he take a cognitive test?
No, he's fine. He's fine.
Person, woman, man.
Not like your guy wants everybody to, but I think he's good. But again, he seems to just. It really seems like he wants the team to do well, and he wants to see this team win, and he's just excited. He seems like a kid in a candy store. So why wouldn't everybody else be? I mean, again, we've never had an opening day like this. We've had times where we're excited and been like, maybe this could be something. Was it 2018 when they kind of went all in? Maybe this could be one last push.
The Buck years, it was always fun.
Yes.
It's like they had legitimate talent. It's like, all right, like they're going to compete for the AL East hopefully this year.
But again, like talking about last year, I have friends who are not as psycho about baseball like me.
Right.
They're not watching 155 games a year, but 2 years ago they weren't watching the games, but last year they're going, I get home and I put the game on right away. I'm itching to see what the Orioles do. I want to see everything they do. And it's like, that's the casual fan that they bring back by winning and bringing, having a team like this. They're exciting. They're fun. People can kind of gravitate around them. Again, you see Adley out at the grocery store. You talk to him. I have a buddy who he's the guy, I see Kyle Bradish and his dog at the dog park every week, and I talk to him. So again, it's like these guys are out and about. They're young. They're fun. Like, how can you not be excited about this group?
I mean, they basically kicked off this era inviting us out to the bar, this time, not this time, maybe a little bit over a year ago. I mean, what a freaking way to introduce ourselves to this crew that was. I mean, they were super nice guys, just pounding beers. Like, it's like, man, this is what it's all about. That would never happen with the Ravens. And that's nothing against them, but it's just like, it speaks to where baseball is, it speaks to where the Orioles are. And it's just a very interesting dynamic.
That's who these guys are too. We learned that in spring training when they're like, oh, by the way, I haven't seen Barbie, but they're like, we have our, what is it? Casa de
Mojo Dojo Casa.
Mojo Dojo Casa.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
By the way,
don't worry, Taylor and I, Culture will be able to keep you boys up to date.
Yeah.
We were talking about pedicures earlier. You missed that, so you missed that combo.
Wow. I mean, that's
pedicures. The people
pedicure segment, because he can do a whole segment on that.
Let me tell you something.
Anyways.
Wow.
No, again, it's like these guys have personality and they have fun, and MLB seems to love it. You can't go on MLB's Instagram without seeing Adley or Gunnar or Cowser or Cedric or Mountcastle.
Much to the chagrin of one Jack Flaherty, they have a really fun young team that likes to have a good time.
Stop.
Listen.
Flaherty.
Hey, sometimes you trash a clubhouse in San Diego after a bad start, and sometimes you throw a pissy fit. Sometimes that happens, when you're a grown adult who hasn't thrown a chair across a line.
That would not fly in the Mojo Dojo Casa house, I'll tell you that much.
Nor should it.
It's a little bit of a vibes change with him to Corbin Burns,
Again, it's just the vibe. I hate that word. I hate using the word vibes. Like, I watched the baseball bat bro. No, not those guys. I love those guys. There's some like baseball YouTube, and they went to Orioles spring training.
Well, you're a big Ben Verlander guy. It was probably him.
They were like the vibes here. Just they're eccentric. They're the best, and it's like, why are you talking like that? These are grown-ups. Like, don't talk. But I will. That being said, the vibes are fucking immaculate. They're so good here.
Like it's everybody. It's like vibe and cringe are the two words that everyone's
No. I like cringe. I use cringe.
Well, yeah,
and that is a reason why I do like. And again, these guys know each other. They come up through the minors, but I do like slow roll. It's not just Jackson Holliday, but that's why I like it to take a little longer. Let the clubhouse establish itself. There's a very fun culture here. Let the younger guys slowly keep integrating. It's going to be in phases. I mean, there's Mayo. There's Kurt. There's 10 more of them. Yeah. Austin Hayes, I think, just had a quote getting interviewed right before the game or something. And there, I think Rock maybe asked him about the 23 wins in the Grapefruit League. Like, does that say anything? And he said, yeah, it means that we have a lot of really good young talent. And those guys are going to be here in due time, and they're going to kill it. So it goes to show what the talent level is. And that, I feel like so much of that is because of that fun nature and because of the games they play and the competitiveness. And the Orioles have a lot of nerds. They're super into Legos. They're a big nerdy clubhouse there. So
they are. I was talking to Colton last night about the. No, I don't mean to.
Thanks for name dropping him by the first name.
First name.
I
hate doing
the first name. Colton and I were just having a conversation.
You, Jake and Spenny, you guys haven't been here for the entire name dropping that he's done throughout the entire shit of podcast.
Yeah.
You just got exposed to.
I've listened when I can over the years, and I've definitely noticed it. So don't worry.
Who else we got?
So I was talking to there was a certain right fielder,
Michael Wilbon Arditi.
There's a right fielder he likes Legos, and I talked to him last night. My daughter's getting into Legos.
It's like the Curb Your Enthusiasm where he's talking to his therapist, and he's like, this guy had a lot of issues, and I'm not going to tell you who it was, but he directed Star Wars.
By the way, now you're going to preempt it with my daughter's getting into Legos, so I started talking with him.
We're into Legos. You're going to use your child.
You're going to use your child like that.
I said, Colton, you got to let me know. I said, my guy, we're getting back into Legos. You got to tell me a set to get.
He's building the Death Star Lego set or whatever, and you're building My Little Pony Lego set.
No, we built flowers the other day. Thank you very much.
I should have got him to roll through here before the
I was
game.
not even close.
It's like when Max Delonte was texting with not Dallas Goddard.
Not
He's
Dallas.
like, what are you doing before the Super Bowl?
Yeah,
Like,
so big plan.
Yeah.
No, but again, we're just talking to the guys. They're just big nerds. They love Star Wars, and again, nothing will ever beat Gunner. I think he went like 3 for 4 with the home run last year,
evidently.
and then on his. Literally, Gunner was in the locker room and posted an Instagram story of a picture that Lego had sent him, like a package. It was like, can't wait to go home and put this together. And I tweeted, I was like, he's like every single other person.
He's just like
he
me,
wants
for
to
real.
go home from work and relax.
Yeah.
And that's what he did. He finished up his job and was like, boy, I can't wait to get home and just unwind, let my hair down, and just, kick up and do some Legos after going 3 for 4 and hitting a home run against a Major League Ball club.
Yeah. It's something. It's quite something.
There's been a crazy Lego athlete spotlight in the last year. There's a ton of NBA players. I don't know what's going on in society. It's a weird niche. Very expensive. Athletes can obviously access the high level Lego sets. I feel like it's a weird little niche. Seen a lot of that going on. So I don't know what that's all about, but I like it.
It's very tactile. You get to build something and kind of think things through a little bit. I think athletes are kind of just wired that way a little bit.
We got G-Man 999. Where's Banks? Who could say?
Who could say?
It's an unbelievable question.
Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Where in the world is Brian Black?
It's not even yet. It's not even the summer of Banks yet. We're not even there, and he's already,
He was just in OC.
gallivanting around.
I see no text about any daiquiris or
we're
anything.
supposed to. We said maybe 12:15. I think was the last course.
So that's what he said last. 12:15.
All
So
right,
stay
so
tuned.
He's on pace.
We're
on pace.
planning on running this to about 12:15, 12:30. So Brian's just gonna be like, "Yeah, I'll take my Jimmy's pass. Go check out. Check out the
I'll
set.
pop on the show
whoops, I was in
maybe.
meetings on.
Yeah, I got
I'm sorry.
meetings.
Didn't do any work.
How much do I need to donate to have Taylor do a shoey on camera?
Oh, Shoey. Are you going to do
Shoey.
Shoey?
You
How
gonna
much
do
does someone
Shoey?
have to donate?
Yeah,
you love
Throw a
feet.
number out there.
Yeah,
Help us out.
Let's see. I know Keith might be a little cheap though. Keith might be a little cheap.
Oh,
so-
no. Well, he lived in Vegas, so he
lives in Vegas,
knows.
so yeah, he does know. I'll do it for $250.
Keith, 250.
And Keith, my Venmo is open. You reach out to me if you want to
I
send
need a
that.
shoe though. I can't do it to these shoes.
Sure you can.
How can I
Yeah, why
lose
not?
in these shoes?
Oh, no, I
Yeah,
can't lose in these
you can.
shoes.
Yeah.
Jordan forever.
I mean, you can use my shoe if you want.
Yeah, use those.
I was going to drink milk out of it. I was going to drink milk out of it.
Keith, drop the 250 in the chat. Drop it in the chat. We'll get it done.
Or just reach out to any of us.
That's a
Or
full
you
year
just
of
send me directly.
That's like 3 months of Adobe right there.
By the way, shout out to
$250.
Keith, who's getting married this spring.
Oh,
so,
shout out.
Mazel tov.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be doing
He's
a
back in the
celebration
area.
today.
$2.50.
He's back in the area. Can's finest, one of the greats.
Why is he not here? Bring Alex Carroll. Why are they not
Well,
here?
Alex wants to give us viewers. He's a loyal fan
Yes,
of the show, so
that's
he's
true.
going to give us online viewers.
Do we think Ryan Lee is in the chat or no?
Good friend.
Yes. And Keith, now see what it is, Keith. You get called out back. You get called out
Keith.
back. Now I'm just interacting with my friends on the chat. And this is where we are here.
You're basically
On the
texting.
show.
We're an hour in. We're an hour in.
basically
Things are going to
texting.
fall apart. I
We're
had the
basically
fucking camera
texting.
turn off.
Hey, that's what people like. They say they like feeling like they're at the bar with the boys. You were at Jimmy's famous
That's
tailgate
kind of
with
what our
the boys.
podcast is. It's like we're a little bit of a work hard, play hard environment around here.
Yeah, we're looking for real rock stars to come over and really show us their how good they are.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
You know.
Okay. Well, an hour in. I mean, it's feeling good.
Do I go get some food to bring it back and try?
Yeah,
do
do it.
You want to do that?
Yeah, do it.
Yeah, let's do
We'll
that.
bring it back.
All right,
We'll bring
So
it
you
back.
guys can roll over.
Very nice.
Jakey, this is our first time diving into Orioles content, really. This is our, we got in last year. We joined the crew. That was a little late. So we're rolling Orioles content, hour number 2 here. We got a question here. Who do you think will come out of the bullpen today? Expectations for the bullpen. I will say I've had no free ads. I've had a Bud Latte and a half here. I would say expectations for the bullpen to begin with. I do, and I feel like so many people do give the Orioles the benefit of the doubt in terms of ability to find solutions. But with that in mind, I think that Felix Bautista is a massive, massive loss. Craig Kimbrell, a nice signing, an experienced, I think Michael Elias said he's like a potential Hall of Fame closer. Maybe. He keeps chucking for a couple years, maybe finds himself another World Series. Sure. So nice replacement there. I'm just curious on, can lightning strike twice for the same guys? Because, for instance, and this is one example, But the Orioles signed Austin Voth off the waivers from the Nationals in 2022, had the worst ERA in baseball, and the Orioles pitching lab turns him into a really, really strong bullpen pitcher. That season immediately, it's like, oh, they do it again. Voth comes back last year. Not acceptable, not serviceable.
Breaking news coming across the wire. We have our lineup. Gunnar Henderson is leading off. Adley Rutschman behind him. Ryan Mountcastle in the 3-hole. Santander at 4th. Austin Hayes hitting 5th. Jordan Westberg DHing at 6th. Cedric Mullins hitting 7th. Ramon Urias hitting 8th. And Jorge Mateo, your boy, hitting 9th with Corbin Burns starting.
Love it.
So.
Was curious to see how the lineup was going to play out in terms of, do you want Adley and Gunnar continuing to be top of the lineup leading off? It's interesting, right? I mean, those are guys that on many teams I feel like would be the 3-4 2 hitter. You know, a lot of teams do like to have their 2 hitters, their best hitter, 3 hitter right there with them. So in terms of getting on base, I mean, Gunnar walks a lot. He's got speed. We saw what he did last year. He was electric as setting the tone as the leadoff man.
Yeah.
Able to go do the darn thing, but was curious to see, you know, maybe they would go with a Mullins at leadoff again.
I thought they would lead off with Adley. They did that a lot last year. I think they liked, you mentioned the Charlie Hustle thing where he's trying to run everything out. I like that from him. I like Gunnar at 2, obviously. But, I mean, Gunnar at 1 as well is great because he hits for plus. You can get him on second base on that first hit, first swing, and get the energy and the tempo going. Mountie at 3rd. I feel like we haven't seen that a ton. I'm excited to get a look at that because he does hit for power. And if you get 1 or 2 of these guys on base and then he crushes one out of there, the fucking place, the whole place is just going to explode. I'm very excited.
Certainly, Westberg batting 6th there with Hayes batting 5th. Santander up to Mountie batting 3rd there. Really excited to see. I mean, Ryan Mountcastle has been such an enigma last year, has the inner ear balance issue, the vertigo, and started thwacking last year. At one point, he was leading Major League Baseball after that huge 9 RBI game, leading Major League Baseball in RBIs. Falls out, the vertigo takes over, comes back, gets really hot again. The 1-2 platoon, as you like to say,
of course,
of him and O'Hearn able to switch and interact in and out is awesome there. So a lot of attention going to be put at the bottom of that lineup probably with Urias and Mateo. Urias has shown over a pretty sustained sample size at this point, he is about a league average hitter. He is about a 100 OPS plus guy.
I feel like he's clutch too. I don't know if the stats back that up, but I do feel like he always comes through in the big moments.
Yeah, he definitely has had a lot of clutch moments. The big Yankees home run here 2 years ago. But if your 8 hitter is league average, that is a good place to be in. April, Jorge Mateo, hopefully turning the line over up at points. If he's able to get on base for Gunnar Adley, that's going to fester in a pitcher's mind. So speed at the end of the order there as well. So interesting lineup. I think that will look a lot different in a couple weeks here. But, hey, Gunnar leading off, Adley batting 2nd, setting the tone, and you got Mountie put in a really great spot, right? If those 2 guys able to get on base, one of the 2, you're going to be able to be in a nice position from the stretch there. So, yeah, fun lineup. Tony Taters batting 4th. Love it.
Yeah, I mean, Tony Taters, and like that's almost like a gentleman's third, really, because you expect these guys to get on base. They're that good, and honestly, if you can get even one of those guys on, and then you get 2 outs, and then Tony gets up there, I'm very confident that you're gonna at least stay alive with him and maybe score. So, exciting stuff, very exciting. Good to see the lineup. How are we doing in the comments here?
Cabsy, yeah, we got Alex. Cabsy.
Yeah. How you feeling about Paulie D? You excited?
Feeling about Paulie?
Yeah. You excited?
I'm excited. I'm really excited. I wasn't like a Jersey Shore obsessed person.
I was a little young for it. I remember the commercials. I was probably like maybe early high school, maybe a little bit younger than that when it really first started, and I just never got on that train. So I didn't get to watch it a ton, but I
think you can appreciate it a lot more when you get a little bit older and start to understand how ridiculous they really were being.
I remember when PMT interviewed one of those guys. It might have even been Paulie D.
Might have been.
It might have been The Situation.
They did interview The Situation, yeah.
Yeah, and I remember he said, like, yeah, you know, it's funny because, like, I went to the beach a ton in my 20s, but I never actually, like, went to the beach. I just went there to, like, get fucked up. And I was like, I'm starting to, like, kind of relate to that a little bit. So that's when I decided, like, you know, if I'm going to Ocean City, I got to have at least one day at the beach. And I do pretty much every time. Not, you know, in the off season when I go there. I was there for St. Patrick's Day.
Super excited to see Paulie. I
actually did go out there when I was at the boardwalk, the Purple Moose and the Cork Bar, things of that nature. I had a good buzz going, took my shoes off, went out to the water. It was fantastic. And I just kind of felt a little bit of a Kendall Roy moment for me. So it's great. But we're going to be out there a ton this summer.
I've seen them in person. I've seen them walking through an Atlantic City hotel. I saw him, Vinny, I think Snooki.
Did you see Sammy Sweetheart?
No, she's not in the crew. Meet. She's not in the crew anymore.
Okay.
She hasn't been in the crew in a while. I think it was those three walking through Harrah's in Atlantic City quite a few years ago. So
Harrah's, as my brother-in-law's friend would say in New Orleans.
Nice
are we going to Harrah's?
Harrah's.
Yeah.
Last Harrah's. So, yeah, I'm fired up for that. Fired up for this lineup. Bullpen, question we were talking about there. I think bullpens make or break you, right? The most important innings and most games are close, and the late innings are going to be more important than the early innings if it's a close game.
I'm interested in Yennier Cano. Like, what, he had
two guys, and one obviously not in the bullpen, especially as of now. Tyler Wells, Yennier Cano, two guys that ran out of gas. Wells a little bit more extreme.
Yeah.
So both of them look to be in really good shape, physically speaking. We're going to have our little taste test here. Boys, the lineup did come out for the day. We just got that live.
We already talked about it.
Love it.
Oh, good.
Love it.
Good. Yeah, I'm glad you talked about it. Yeah.
But yeah, bullpen wise, Tyler Wells as a starter ran out of gas. Yennier Cano, much talked about that arm slot that got him to be. And I do feel like it's forgotten how electric he was to begin the year. I mean, dude, what did he?
Amazing.
First 20-something batters he faced.
When that stance started to really pop off and people started to pick up on the stance, I think that was kind of a galvanizing moment for the club.
Who is this? Cano? Yeah. I mean, he was legitimately untouchable.
How many innings in a row did he not let up a run for? What was it?
It was
in the 30s.
It was like high 20s, low 30s, something. Yeah. I mean, he was.
I think he retired the first 22 batters he faced, something along those lines.
I think Taylor, we may have talked about this. I don't remember, but guys like Cano and Bautista and Perez are the reason that I'm not like overly concerned about the bullpen, because they have shown Elias and Hyde that they can find arms out of seemingly nowhere. Again, this day last year, I didn't know who
we got first bite. Let's get some ASMR going there.
We'll get a crab mac and cheese dog. That's a pita tier sausage. The David Rubenstein.
Oh, I'm doing the Rubenstein. Yeah.
We should Lady in the Tramp that. You grab one end, I'll grab the other. Yeah.
Uncle David.
That or the hot dog. It's up to you, buddy.
Uncle David. Well, you don't want to be going halvesies on a hot dog on a glizzy with Eric. I'll tell you.
No, we can all share the man meat. It's okay.
You're getting touched quick. Eric's going through that thing like freaking white on rice.
No. But again, I mean, Cano was fantastic. I think we'll see good stuff out of him this year. Obviously, he kind of hit that rough patch last year, and Ben talked about it on air, being like, he looks tired. You can tell his arm slot's dropping.
It was the most innings he'd ever pitched, and especially towards the end. Once Bautista goes down, he's getting worked like a Clydesdale.
That's to be expected. I mean,
he was also on days where Bautista couldn't go. They were asking Cano to get 5 outs, and that's what was so crazy. And I feel like that is why Bautista is a crazy loss. He was getting 4, 5, and 6 outs
if he needed. Yep.
Like multiple times a week at times.
Yep.
He was truly unbelievable, and maybe that's why the elbow wears out. I don't know. But
that second half of the season when he, it seemed like, I'll never forget. It was the game in Minnesota where they went to extras. It was the same night that Cedric had that robbing catch at the wall.
Yep.
And everyone was like, let's see what they do with Felix. Let's see who they bring in. And they were like, this is how we're going to see how Hyde is going to manage the rest of the year. He managed that game in Minnesota like it was a playoff game, like it was Game 7, Game 5 of a playoff game, whatever. He was going to pitch his best guy and get the win, do whatever he had to. And they did that. So, again, I mean, it can't be understated how big the Felix loss is. It's massive, but again, literally nothing you can do about it. You move on, and we go from there. As Spenny gives the thumbs up, the A-OK for the crab cake egg rolls, which are always great.
Internationally renowned.
Jake has a Reuben.
Fantastic.
Give us Trump eating the Reuben.
Well, let me tell you what, it was a very good Reuben. Maybe one of the best, most fantastic Reubens I've ever had. They really don't make Reubens
these days anymore, do they?
They're trying to take the
Reubens. Manager, David Rubenstein?
They're trying to take the Reubens away from us. They're trying to do it David Rubenstein, I know him a little bit, but, obviously he bought the Magna Carta. I put in a bigger bid, and they gave it to him for reasons that I don't really understand. But
with little Mike Bloomberg,
yeah, that's okay.
David Rubenstein, him and little Mike,
Mini Mike, and his tiny club head speed is buying into the Orioles.
Current owner of the Orioles, who we're making fun of. Also involved in the ownership group.
No, we're not making fun of him. We're not making fun of him.
We're making fun of Trump. Shout
out to Mini Mike Luke, who caddied for Mini Mike at Caves Valley.
There we go.
Way back in the day.
Mini Mike Luke, one of the finest caddies at Caves Valley.
I had the hot dog here. And I had the Rubenstein as well, which is very good.
Anyone want to go halvesies on the brat?
Yeah. I'm fine.
Do what you want. I'll finish the rest.
Okay. Do you want to Lady in the Trampet?
I already asked that. It's always on the board. It's always on there for us. No, but seriously, it's great. In the air is awesome. Tons of people back by the food. Everyone listening to the band. Paulie's going on in a little bit, and
lots of girls wearing cool Oreo stuff.
That's my empty.
I see like a bedazzled Maryland flag that has orange instead of red.
Awesome.
Very cool.
I didn't know you looked.
I saw it. I seen it.
Lots of cool, shiny. The Lady Oriole fans are killing it. That's what I see on display at the tailgate here.
Shout out to Gabby DePaula. I ran into her earlier. I told her to come over, and she's not going to. But yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, great. Thanks, Gabby.
The vibe. Me and Eric just did a little walkthrough. Tremendous vibe. The food is fantastic as per usual. Jimmy's does it up. I'm just watching them make stuff across the way too. I'm gonna have to eat whatever this.
Yeah, that looks very good.
I'm gonna have to bring that over at some point from the old base station because I've just stared at it this entire time.
That steam coming off.
I think they have another tailgate planned for the Yankees.
There's a Yankees one and a Phillies one. Sometime in, I believe, July.
Oh boy,
Yankees.
Yeah. So people should get tickets for those if they're available. Because I'm sure they'll sell out quickly.
We may do that topless. That's gonna be a holiday.
Oh yeah. We're gonna be shirts and skins and no shirts.
Yeah.
Skins. Yeah. We'll just be skins. Yeah. Everyone else's shirts were skins.
You can do that.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, bullpen. I don't know. I feel like bullpen. I mean, like I was saying before you guys got here, like benefit of the doubt for sure. But I feel like Coulomb felt like lightning in a bottle a little bit.
Another guy that they found out of nowhere, and they got him literally the day before opening day.
My question though, and I did say this is like a super niche example of it, but like think about Austin Voth, how effective Austin Voth was. Comes back the next year, didn't quite look the same. Bullpen. Pitching the bullpen has to be so tough, man. Just being on call all the time and having to come into those situations, you warm up, but so it's that cold start halfway through the game. Everybody else is warmed up. I don't know. I feel like it's tough to sustain. I think it's really impressive when bullpen pitchers, closers, whoever you may be, can sustain success over long periods of time because I think it is such a unique role in athletics across like the four major American sports,
where you never know if you're going to play that night, and you got to get ready at the drop of a hat, pretty much, and go in and put out the fire immediately.
It's like being a doctor almost.
You're
a surgeon on call.
You're calling. You're the ER doctor of the baseball team.
Are you saying relievers are basically first responders?
Essentially, yeah. I want to give them my thanks and my thoughts and prayers.
Oh, wow, that.
Yeah.
When is Relievers Awareness Month?
I feel like you're the one. You and Brian are the ones that are dialed into like the national days. So maybe you got.
No, Brian hates every national day ever.
Yeah,
he hates it. He hates it. Don't ask me what the first one that he popped off in the group chat was about. You know what that was.
Well, today's National Opening Day, so I'm hoping to see him soon so we can get his thoughts on that.
I keep checking my phone to see if he's close and we have no text.
That's awesome. I'm just staring at my phone to look.
I just expect to see him next week on the podcast.
Yeah, we're sorry for everyone that wanted Banks. He's just he's got to do his own thing.
The Banks hive needs to calm down. We don't know if he's coming or not. But
G-Man999, have we commented on Tony Kemp? I mean, what is there to say?
Sure.
Veteran, lefty.
What can you say about Tony Kemp that hasn't been said about Rougned Odor and Adam Frazier?
Yeah.
He's got the experience against veteran lefty or MLB experience against lefties that they wanted. He's got like 500 plate appearances.
There's probably one thing you could say about Adam Frazier that you can't say about anyone else. And maybe the Fanatics uniforms will reveal that.
I mean, the guy is fucking hacking.
Hung like a horse.
That picture was incredible.
Yeah, and that was before Fanatics. Can you imagine what he would look like now?
I can imagine.
Not to belabor the point.
No, I can imagine. Yeah. No, we get it.
Jakey Glizzy just getting all horned up.
As I'm eating, the brat here. Yeah.
Oh, boy. So, Tony Kemp, I mean, what is he? He's not playing today. He's going to play against lefties. He's going to get 50 at-bats in the next month, and then
maybe a pitch runner today.
Westberg is going to end up playing some second at some point against lefties.
He's a third?
8-minute ETA, according to Benz. 8-minute ETA.
No, Westberg is at
on
second.
my way.
No. I think we're Jorge's at second, I thought.
Yeah, excuse me. Westberg is DH. There we go.
He's DH. All right, I like that. Yeah. Again, I think Westberg is a dog. I think he was my breakout pick for this year. I think that they released that little trailer like we talked about of like the next chapter, and Jordan Westberg had a quick little snippet that they posted, and he was like, I love all the guys in the clubhouse, but I'm not trying to give anybody an inch to take an at-bat away from me. And the intensity that he said that with, and the intensity, like, he's quiet. No, I feel like he's just intense. Yes,
he's very intense. And him and Gunnar on the left side of the infield.
People have made the Markakis, comparisons from a temperament
that
standpoint.
a lot. Yeah. Nick Markakis had that same intensity. He's around here somewhere with his nice.
I haven't seen him yet.
Nice,
I think Marshall RDT might need to turn the tractor beam on and get him over here.
I haven't seen him. I got a text. I think it was Gabby. Said Nick Markakis is still hot. I haven't seen him, but
all right. Well,
have you seen?
He is a stud. He's a handsome man.
Angels lineup. Have you seen that?
I have not seen the Angels lineup yet.
Anthony Rendon, Aaron Hicks batting second.
Noted
Mike
baseball
Trout
lover
third.
Anthony Rendon.
From there, brother, who are these guys? Taylor Ward? I don't know. Who's
Taylor Ward? Taylor Ward is
not a
Brandon Drury. We know Brandon Drury. We know Miguel Sano.
Yeah, Miguel Sano. Nolan. This guy's a beast. Actually, Nolan Chanel. I don't know. Miguel Sano, O'Hoppe.
Zach Neto is a highly regarded prospect. O'Hoppe at the bottom of the line. That's going to be worse there.
But again,
Taylor Johnson, come by the booth. We got.
You look at that 1 through 3. You look at that top. It's like, okay, Rendon to start off is incredible. That seems like him being like, let me get it back. Let me just fucking get back.
Yeah, let me just get this over with.
He just didn't want to deal with Otani's stardom. All right, he was just waiting for Otani to leave town so he could finally play.
He's like, listen, brother, I got.
It's like Brooks Koepka. He's like, I just got to get the fuck off this golf course, so I'm going to shoot the lowest score possible.
I can see that. Yeah, that seems about right. Yeah. But again, I mean, that Angels lineup, Corbin Burns is probably drooling right now, just being like, give this to me.
I hope so. And guess what? I was drooling at this amazing Jimmy's Fantasy.
Yeah, how was it? Give the
fantastic. I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10 on both counts. Amazing Ruben, the Rubenstein. We call
the best
him
Ruben I've ever had.
We call him Big Dave because he's Big Dave. He's big in every room he walks into. He's the biggest man regardless of stature. Tremendous to talk to, and fantastic Ruben, of course. And the brat was amazing as well. I don't know what they're calling that.
That was the pita tears.
Maybe they're calling it the pita tears brat. Of course, we love to dunk on pita and all that they're doing to our society. It's really terrible. Yeah, little Eric Arditi over there hating on my bits that I'm trying to
drinking a Bud Light.
Drinking a Bud Light, of course.
No surprise.
We don't like Bud Light.
The best, but we're just so excited. I can't believe this.
And that was talking David Rubenstein with us.
That was talking David.
Yep.
Talking Uncle Dave. I think we got DJ Pauly D coming on here. What time?
Sounds like 1 o'clock.
Right 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
12:20 right now.
We'll be thumping and bumping. We've been on for an hour 20. We'll probably go a little bit further.
I think we get this going another 10 minutes or so.
We'll do another 10 minutes.
We gotta get little Brian Black on the show.
Little Brian Black. It has to be like on the show. It has to be Matt Damon, like on Kimmel, where they're like.
And that was talking. Hey, Brian, how are you? And that was talking baseball with Brian Black.
We have to sit him down and be like, hey, all right, thanks, guys. Yes. Thanks, everyone, for joining.
Yeah. What are you going to do?
We'll see you tomorrow night with Florence Pugh and musical guest.
Rage Against the Machine.
Matthew Rogers.
Austin Butler is going to be talking only in the Elvis accent.
Emma Stone is talking about her Oscar
and how cool it is.
And maybe we'll have Brian Black on next week.
Little Brian
Sorry,
Black.
right out of time, Brian.
Adley Rutschman, 2+ total bases, 3+ total bases, 4+ total bases.
Nobody does the we've talked about dumb stuff for 5 minutes and spend it.
He just reins it back in. Yeah, just
my streams of consconsciousness are
lucid. And then he's like, you look at Cano's delivery, and it's really, really set in.
Very
really
compact. He's got his arms slotted here, and amazing.
No, but he was
I can't get Trump voice out of my. Cano, he's dropped his arm slot a little bit.
He's
become more effective.
He's a tired boy. I don't get tired.
This Bullpen never gets tired.
I have a lot of vigor.
Speaking of tired, Sleepy Joe. 10 minutes just off the course.
Yep, exactly. He's got his talking points, and he hits them.
All right.
8 minutes, huh?
That's what Brian said.
I thought that was outdated. I thought he said 8 minutes.
Exactly. I'm 90 minutes in.
I'm headed over to give him his pass.
Get him
his pass. Come back with Mike Bordick. Come back with Mike Messina.
Nick Markakis, if you wouldn't mind. Be the trash man.
Love it. What do we got?
RDT's a little bit like the mayor when he walks around too. He's like waving at people.
What is this audio, Chris? We don't know. We're 80 minutes in. We're live. We're at the Tailgoat.
I think they're setting up the concert back there.
We literally have a gigantic DJ stand right behind us. So we're doing the damn thing live. We're doing our best here. Rocky Mountain Orioles should have ordered some Jimmy's seafood to be delivered for opening day.
Should have.
You should have. You should have out there in the old Colorado.
Yep.
Would have said it right. I literally hear someone chanting RDT's name in the crowd.
Taylor. I'll bring you stickers.
Yeah, Taylor, come by. We'll give you some.
I'll bring you stickers.
Come by.
Fellas, 83 minutes in here. What comes to mind? Opening day. What do you think of?
You just said his name. We really haven't talked to any Adley Rutschman at all.
And that's a good thing, isn't it?
Captain.
It's amazing.
Captain America.
The guy is, what's his MVP odds?
Plus 2,500 on FanDuel last time I looked. He has about the 13th best odds. Catchers don't win MVP.
They do not.
Yeah. It's because box score stats are lower for catchers because they play less games.
Correct.
Yeah.
He is arguably the most important player on the team, and we haven't talked about him in 80 minutes, and I think it just speaks to his he's been here for.
He's like a staple of. He's a staple of the team.
He's just a staple,
yeah.
And you know exactly what you're going to get from him, and there's no worries about whether he's going to produce. He is it's just amazing that he was at the top of mind. We would have opened the show with him if this was opening day. Like, when is Adley Rutschman coming up 2 years ago?
Well,
and now he is just this consistent all-star
presence.
He's a presence. He's just
the Mizzen and Maine sponsorship. I'm getting a little Phil Mickelson vibes from him now. He's got the dress shirts on. He's like, I'm Adley Rutschman. This is my dream to play baseball. It's so funny, watching him do those things where he has to be all serious.
He's unapologetically himself.
He's such a goofy guy. Like when he did that, he did the thing at MLB where he was at that store in New York City and walking around just doing.
I was watching the MLB Network's Orioles 2024 spring training preview from 3 weeks ago. I watched that last night.
Yeah.
And it's they're just rotating around. They do a full half hour in the Orioles. At the end of the segment, they're interviewing Adley. They go to interview Gunnar next. And I can't remember what former MLB baseball, Cliff Floyd, I think, says. Cliff Floyd's in the interview. He says, Adley, who's a better athlete, you or Gunnar? He goes, me, of course. Blah, 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 goes on this whole tangent. At the end, he's just messing around at the end. Adley just reverts back. He's like, Gunner's going to kill me for that. Gunner's such a better athlete than me. He's just such a goofy, unapologetically himself person. So even there was a highlight of him when they did the simulated practice that ended up getting closed off because of unfortunate tragedy that happened that day with the bridge. But they Adley got struck out and sorted, and he went to the side and just started sorting around with his bat after he just got K'd up. He's not an aggro person at all. He's lighthearted, has fun with it, and it's fun to watch.
It's amazing.
Just the other thing about him is, and the stat gets thrown around on Twitter every 3 weeks when we're in season, their record after Adley came up, when he got called up, how good it is, how good they've been since he came up. The guy is just a winner. He just wins. He won at Oregon State. All he's done is won since he came up as an Oriole.
How many they've won every series since then, right?
Pretty much.
He's just that central fulcrum that the entire thing revolves around, despite the fact that all we've talked about is Corbin Burns and Jackson Holliday and all these other guys.
Yeah.
He's
old news, but in a good way.
Central nervous system of the entire thing.
Yeah.
And for him to do it,
he deserves that credit.
You can tell his bags yet, but I'm waiting.
No bags is the report from Eric.
Beer?
No bags. As Jake is requesting beverages from RDT.
The thing about Adley that blows my mind is that it felt like such a veteran presence within the pitching staff and bullpen and the rotation so quickly.
Yeah.
In year one last year, I guess 2 years ago, but really his first full year in 2023, he was so in command, so in tune. All pitchers talk about it, how well he calls a game, all of those things. And to just be also a prolific switch hitting catcher it's practically unheard of.
Yeah, and
practically unheard of.
I think about
have that impact from day one.
The home run derby. I feel like he kind of announced himself to the world a little bit. I feel like not a lot of people knew too much about him, right? He's a first overall pick, but in baseball, what does that really mean? You're not going to know
if you're a fan of the Reds or the Angels.
In the same way that I didn't know anything about Ellie De La Cruz until he got called up, right? And he started to do stuff.
You might see a tweet here, an article there.
And I'm a little bit more casual baseball fan. I'm not as hardcore as some other people, but I'm pretty in tune. It's just one of those things where it's not such a national sport. It's very regional. You focus on your team, your division, whatever it is, maybe your conference. But outside of that, you're not tracking it super close. feel like he gets to that All-Star game and he's doing the switch hitting thing, and he didn't win, obviously, but he put on a big show. And I remember, like, Big Cat tweeting, like, Adley Rutschman is sweet. And I was like, wow, okay, the Orioles have a national star for the first time. And
it's absurd to think that the Orioles have Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman, and Corbin Burns.
Yeah.
Like that, if there was like an MLB Jam t-shirt to make, like having those three guys in the Orioles is inconceivable.
Grayson Rodriguez is going to be in that conversation too.
100%. 100%. Jackson Holliday. They've got 10 other young players that factor in that conversation.
This feels like a kiss of death type of thing to ask, but I'll ask it. How many All-Stars do the Orioles have?
So we did this on the preview. I'll tell you my answer, and then you guys give me yours.
I say over under 2.5. Would be
I said three. I said it was those three: Adley, Corbin, and Gunnar.
Yeah.
And I think Eric said, "Look, well, I just want to hear yours. What do you think?"
That was what I was going to say.
Yeah.
It feels like if you're one of the best teams in baseball, you get a starting pitcher on there, and those two, Adley's just going to be on there. And then I think Gunnar produces enough to get himself in the echelon. I don't think they'll have like a bullpen situation. They won't have a bullpen guy.
I could see Kimbrel because I feel like if he plays well, if he plays above average, if he has a couple blown saves, I feel like he could make it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
From that virtue. And again, a dark horse guy I feel like is Dylan Tate, someone who we haven't mentioned today.
Yeah.
Dylan Tate was shut down in 2022. Absolutely elite setup guy, able to come in.
What's crazy is all three of their outfielders could all.
Austin Hayes was an all-star. Cedric Mullins
has been an all-star. And Anthony Santander has had 2
all-star seasons
where he could be an all-star.
Absolutely.
So, like, all of those guys could also make it. Which just speaks.
Let alone say Jordan Westberg. I mean, certainly has the talent. He's a top prospect.
Yeah, Cowser's the same thing if he gets enough at bats.
If he does get enough at bats.
Mateo was an all-star through a month and a half last year.
He was MVP of baseball.
Spenny's guy. Yeah.
So I agree. I think those three is where it probably is, but it's just amazing that we can make cases that any of these guys have put. Not that we're just like projecting. Like
last year it was what? Bautista, Hayes, and Adley. I think those were just the three.
Right? Yeah.
I think it was just those three.
Cano is right there. He didn't make it.
No, Cano didn't make it.
He didn't make it. Yeah. So, like, that's the thing. We're not even, like, saying, Austin Hayes has Westberg and Cowser would be guys like that.
Austin Hayes shows how anyone else could make it.
But, like, we're not even projecting it. They've done it. They've done it within the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. It's feasible they could have 5 or 6 of them. Had another couple questions here. What giveaway are you guys looking forward to? Haven't seen those particularly yet. I don't scope those out. I'm sure Eric would be able to dive into that.
You seem like a giveaway guy. That's surprising.
Wow.
Look who's decided to join us to grace us with his presence.
Off? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
You can do that, yeah.
We use that word puppy a lot.
We have.
He's a big puppy.
This is 2024's year of the puppy.
First off,
hit us with a. Oh. There we go.
Wow.
Fingers.
The mic caught that very well.
How we doing, boys?
Doing fantastic.
Amazing.
You're good.
I'm buzzing, man. I'm having a great time.
You got here just at the 90-minute mark.
Yeah. How about that?
You guys been rocking.
Yeah, we've been rocking and rolling.
These AirPods in, they're not doing anything.
You want to put this on?
No, that's all right. I can hear you.
Okay,
that's
good.
all right.
Eric couldn't. Eric had a lot of trouble, so I had to
Eric
hook him
was
up.
just being a little bit of a diva.
Walking over. Catchers do win MVP awards. I think Buster Posey and Joe Mauer in recent years.
Okay. Yeah. Well, there's 2 this century.
Take issue with that comment.
This century, yeah.
I'm nitpicking the one thing I heard in the.
There you go. No, that's what we need you for. That's what we need you for.
Yeah, Buster Posey, who's like Adley Rutschman's comparison.
We got Banks is alive in the chat here.
Vibes right now.
Tell me. Well, just tell us. We've been going for 9 minutes.
Vibes are high, man. I mean, this weather, like whatever.
It works out though. It's not raining.
Let me tell you. There is no like comfier feeling and more like, oh man, I feel good in this than a hoodie under a baseball jersey.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why that fit.
That's the official. I feel like spring has truly sprung when you see that or wear that. When you see those start to become a thing, that's where you're like, all right, we're in the thick of spring around here.
Yeah. No, it's a fit that I just look. I feel like I look great in it.
You do.
Whether they do or not, probably not.
You look good. Taylor looks good. Jake looks good. I didn't do jersey today.
It's just a look that I'm into. It's comfy. It's like, I mean, it's a throwback.
It's the best. It's a 20 to 37-year-old fit of spring.
Yeah.
Baseball jersey sweatshirt.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Love it.
Much. Can I get a pop soda? Are they pop sodas around? We got to get Eric up.
That's what I told him to go get.
There's plenty here. Little Eric Gardner.
Little Eric.
You know, kiss babies. He's got to shake hands. He's got to do all this.
That's why he went to Pickles at fucking 6 in the morning and just, completely.
Yeah, we're texting last night about all this stuff, and everyone's like, "Oh, I've got something in the morning. I've got something. You potentially had something." And
I flew in. I got home at 8:30 last night.
At 6 in the morning, and everyone's like, "We'll see ya. We'll see
You think there's a chance he's going to miss a single minute of his mayoral tour?
He's floating. He's floating around.
He bounces around.
He has earned it. I mean,
Nobody's absolutely earned it.
Nobody on the internet has earned it more than him.
Oh,
Very true.
He has him trailing guys in Bowie and Frederick and Delmarva for years.
Oh, yeah.
And just spitting out content that, quite frankly, the casual and the above casual Baltimore fan just did not, frankly, give a shit
was
about.
the dark years. The dark
it's like,
years.
we get it.
Yeah.
We get it. Their kids coming. We love it.
Yeah.
We're excited for it. But for now, you just kind of keep doing your thing.
He's been
and
watering
we're just
those
gonna-
seeds. He's
Well,
been
and
nice. It's like being nice to the girl with the boyfriend.
You know what he struck? You know what he struck a good balance of is that he was sliding into the Instagram DMs and in the comments of these 18-year-old children, essentially. But he wasn't like so creepy about it that it was an issue, and it worked out to the point they were like, "Hey, I actually kind of like this guy. Oh, Barstool, let me follow him back." And then what do you know? He's friends with Adley Rutschman, and he's
worked out for
and
him.
he's name dropping Colton Cowser on here, and he's
He's like, oh yeah, this player's white.
He's
that
a big
player's
white guy. Yeah,
I sat with him for a couple innings
Yeah.
at this 6,000 attendance Camden Yards game.
Yeah, me and Caroline Means were
he's a legend.
talking Italian restaurants around the city.
of course. Yeah.
I got a Zoom call to talk about Lego sets with.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said he was texting Colton Cowser.
No, Colton, not Colton Cowser. Colton.
He's
They were
texting Colton
texting.
saying like, "Oh, we're back into
My
Legos. What
daughter's
should we
getting
do?"
Lego. Used his kid to deflect the fact.
Oh yeah, he's like, she's getting into Legos.
Yeah,
What do you
she's getting Lego, so I had to do it.
want me to say?
Question for you, Brian. So we got something in the chat. When does Uncle's Dave start hitting extensions?
When's extension season?
When is extension season for the
he's about
Baltimore?
to do a presser in a matter of minutes.
He did one already.
What if he just comes out with the athlete gunner, chair to his left, chair to his right, and says, "We're not fucking leaving,
They're like his
boys.
Cane Corsos.
We're here for the next."
He just
10 to
walks into
15."
center field off the orange
Oh,
carpet
it'd
and
be
he
so
just
electric.
announces them. Yeah,
We
it'll
can
be
dream.
incredible.
I think Gunnar Henderson comes first. I think it's Gunnar. I think he's
Are they
signed.
both Boris guys?
Yeah, I think so.
That
And
sucks.
Holiday.
Of course. Yeah, why not, right? Fuck. That's
2/3 of the world is covered by water. The other third of the world is Scott Boris's baseball clients.
And then the other 10% is Patrick Queen.
Who could say?
Yeah. That was
Overall thoughts about this team, Brian? We got some fresh blood. Overall
What's
thoughts about
not
this
to
team?
like? What's not to like? We unpacked it pretty good the other night. I mean,
Corbin Burns, we
they can
talked
hit,
about it this
they
week.
can pitch. They can defend.
They can.
Bullpen,
Can they hit?
some question marks,
Yep.
but we always find it like solutions there. We always do.
If Dylan Tate is a stud, the bullpen is fine. And Dylan Tate has shown that he is fully capable of being a
Cano is
stud.
a wild card in the sense of like, can he repeat that? That was such a
Lightning in a bottle.
gigantic- Yeah, exactly. Lightning in a bottle situation. But when he's on,
He was filthy.
Has the stuff.
He was
He's
an
got the
all-star.
stuff. He has every right to be as mad about not just being given the closer role, given the way he pitched. So
There's definitely many
Chip on
worlds
his
where
shoulder, maybe
Cano
that's-
ends up being the closer at some point soon.
maybe
Who
that's
knows?
the idea.
Kimbrel is to struggle.
He got a little bit of reps.
Certainly
He got
possible.
some reps with it too last offseason. So. What's up, man?
What's up, buddy?
Oh, hey,
Hey, what's up, dude?
Oh, howdy doody.
Hey, good to see you. How's it going?
We like to have fun under bridges regularly. This is kind of
Actually, yeah, this
Patrol's
is
under the
kinda-
bridge.
Yeah, this is my hangout spot usually. So
All around
yeah,
town.
I was very familiar with it. There, maybe some needles and some gentlemen.
But
down
another
on
one
the
is
walk- down
is
on that
Mateo's spot on the roster safe because of his speed? Somebody asked in the comments. I think yeah, but at a certain point, I would think that Heston, Mayo, and Holiday are all on this team at some point this year, and that leaves question marks.
end. Yeah, like is Arias just like warming a spot really? Which is
There
interesting.
has to be a trade at some point.
Yeah.
They have to make a trade at some point with one of their veteran position players.
We talked about this in the preview. It's like if the going price for a rental of a Corbin Burns is a Joey Ortiz and a DL Hall, how, if you're in the thick of it and you know you need bullpen help like we were talking about, or you need X, Y, or Z help, you have too many guys. Like
They have too
that's
many
the
guys
rate of a
for
rental.
surplus.
Mateo, I think Arias, he's not a coveted player to trade for, but there will be a team who could use a league average
He's a big league
hitting
player. He's a big league player.
third
strong
baseman.
defensive, multiple positions. I mean, versatile.
Yes, exactly. Like, teams do need that. Teams need a Ramon Urias. Injuries pop up, and they're like, shit, I wish I had a Ramon Urias.
Yeah. Shit, we started Kelly Johnson.
Right.
In an ALDS.
Right. Teams have that.
We would have loved to have had a Ramon Urias.
Yeah.
In the
100%.
Depth
Mateo is the biggest enigma on the Orioles, always and forever. The speed is electric. The defense is highly capable, but also gets sloppy at times. He can get as hot as anybody in baseball at the plate, like last April, and then turn into cotton-headed ninny-moggins at the plate and have horrible decision-making and all kinds of stuff.
I didn't go. I tried to go to the bathroom.
Here, you get back in here.
Well, about the back in?
Yeah, get in there.
What do you want, man? You're the king.
I know.
Get in the center.
This is your kingdom,
Get him in the
sir.
center. Get him in the center.
How are your work calls?
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. For anyone wondering, that there you go. There's
People
your
were
story.
asking.
Yeah.
The people were asking. The people were asking.
Guy had to take care of
A lot of
business.
where's Brian, where's Banks. A lot of he's ducking you guys.
There was a lot of questions about where you were.
The us.
I don't know.
As friends, as people,
That's what people were saying. Now you've come, so you're not doing that.
You missed
That
his
was the
trip.
talk.
He did like Trump for like 4 minutes.
Yeah, he did.
Little Brian Black, he's ducking the conventions. He's not coming out here. We don't like him very much, do we? You know, he's ducking us. Yeah.
He can hear. You can hear?
No.
I've heard you the whole time.
to put them on.
I've been able to hear it the whole time. It is. They are.
Dude, that is so loud now.
The sound behind us is
so loud.
It's only gonna get louder, and it's only gonna get more
We're
Jersey.
coming to an end here.
Yeah, we probably should wrap it up. Final thoughts.
I'm hungry. I could use a beer.
Yeah, all right.
Or 5.
I'll start final thoughts here.
I'm just getting warmed up here.
We'll go right forward.
There's the train. There's the train.
Yeah.
The train goes by.
That's a setup. This is an unbelievably exciting day. I think
Let's wrap it up, Scott.
we talked about this.
Wrap
We
it up.
talked about this during Ravens season where there's like never been a better time to be a Baltimore sports fan. I think like the vibes around here.
You remember that all-time great Baltimore sports
I
weekend
remember
where the
that.
Ravens played the
Yeah, I
Steelers
remember
and the
that.
Orioles? Yeah, amazing.
But the vibes here are amazing.
Terps played Ohio State.
Yeah,
I
right.
just couldn't be more excited to talk the rest of the year. So very, very pumped up. And thank you. We have to thank Jimmy's for letting us out
of
here.
course. Yeah.
Johnny, Tony, Mike,
yeah.
Gerv,
Get them all in there.
Layla, Lydia, Paulie, Brady,
thanks, Paulie.
Nick, everybody and anything
Colton.
here. Colton, Adley, Jackson, Ryan,
Legos.
Tanner, Legos.
Jacqueline.
This guy said somebody had a name drop earlier. It was disgusting. You would have hated it.
Predictions for the game, by the way.
What was it? Straight up a name drop.
Predictions for the game?
Not me.
Yeah.
I would never do that.
What name?
Colton Cowser.
Orioles 6, Angels 2.
I had the exact same thought.
I said 7-2.
6-2.
Orioles. Same
Orioles.
page.
Prediction.
Come on, baseball man.
9-1.
Oh, 9-1.
We're talking like an 8th inning solo home run to break the.
We talked about the big T-man, the center fielder over there.
Oh, we
We
talked
talked
about
about that at the top of the show.
that was 3.5 hours ago.
That was when you were work calls.
Takeaways?
I mean, look, they stink. I mean, it stinks.
He said he got breakfast with them and they
I
were
got
sick.
breakfast this morning.
Yeah.
I want to blame it on Trout right now, but they don't person. I mean, I can't even do the shtick. They're just not a good team. I wish I could do more shtick now, but they used to have talent, so I could do the shtick.
Have they been good recently?
No.
What's the common
Heavens no.
The
denominator?
common
there?
denominator is a man named after a fish.
Now,
Mike
I'm
Carr.
not going to say that you root for your takes, but is there a part of you that's like, hey, Dodgers go on to great success? It's all because of Ohtani, right? Which would then, of course...
Here's what I'll say. This is the most consistent I've ever been with this team. I want him to make the playoffs. I want Mike Trout to play the playoffs. That's been my whole beef. So I don't root against him. I root for him.
Oh, of
and
course.
that's what hurts me more. Yeah. That's why it hurts me more.
Right. It's tough. You just love
It means
ball.
more. The Mike
I
Trout
want- I
era.
just
It
love-
means more.
I
It just
want
means
the
more.
product.
Taylor and
I
Mike
want
Trout.
the state of the game to be better.
Taylor,
I root for baseball.
SEC.
I root for this. I root for baseball. It just means more. I
just
root
means
for baseball.
more.
I root for baseball.
Taylor, SEC.
It means more.
Yeah, it just means more.
Yeah.
Arnold.
That's what I'll say.
What's his name?
Yeah. Think of it.
And Shohei's got his own issues right now. So
No.
By the way, this is real front and center. Are we getting a cutback from Bud Light here?
We probably should, honestly. We've been slamming them
shit.
all episodes.
There you go.
So, yeah. All right, good. Thank you. No product placement.
No, Shohei does not have any problems. Ipe has a problem. Shohei is innocent. You keep his name out of your
By the
mouth.
way, got a Joggers hat when I was out there. That's pretty big for me.
He was on the 405.
I was on the 405. Yeah, it was sick.
Near the beach.
I saw carpooling. Yeah. Oh yeah, we did. We had 3 people, and then we picked up a hooker too. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Well, that's why you do it.
They saved that guy from manslaughter.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, about it. That it? That a show?
I think so. I think this was awesome.
Take us out, Jake.
All right, boys. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here with me. Banks, thank you for giving us your time. Amazing to have you come through. Amazing stuff. Thank you to Jimmy's Famous Seafood. Awesome event here. We're excited to go and enjoy it. We got to get all our shit packed
Did
up
we
here.
open for Paulie D?
Yeah, we basically did. We can say that now. Add that to the resume. Thank you to Paulie D. Thank you to Nick Markakis. Thank you to Brady Anderson. Thank you to Spencer Schultz. I'll sign off for him.
Oh, he's coming back. Perfect timing.
Oh, there we go.
We got some breaking news. We got Vespi recalled from AAA, Jacob Webb to the paternity list. Kyle Bradish is on the 15-day IL, retroactive to the 25th. John Means, same deal. Tyler Nevin, designated for assignment. Ryan McKenna, designated for assignment. And Michael Perez, catcher on the taxi squad.
Okay.
So
Well, there you go.
There you have it.
That's how you end the show.
There you have it.
That is how you end the show, folks. At Taylor Smite 10, at Barstool Banks, at EDITTI 22, at Ravens 4 Dummies, at Jake Luke. We are at X52 Podcast. Thank you guys so much for tuning in here with us. We had plenty of you in the chat. Amazing stuff. Plenty of you watching. It's awesome. We appreciate the support. And we'll talk to you again very, very soon.